to the Puppet Shop. I have the pleasure of speaking with Michael Riley. 3.
You want to do it again?
Keep it on the roll.
Okay.
3, 2. Welcome to the Puppet Shop. I have the pleasure of speaking with Michael Riley. He is the puppet supervisor for the Lion King North America Tour. Michael manages 200 rod, shadow, and full-size puppets, which I'm going to learn what all of those things mean as part of this touring production. So thank you so much for inviting me into the Puppet Shop.
Yeah, welcome.
And it honestly feels like I'm in with real wood, heavy African sculptures in masks. I'm
they're
amazed.
not, though.
I know, so
not.
we're going to talk about that, but I know you have one of my favorite friends in your hand, Zazu. Hi, Zazu.
Hello. So yeah, this is Zazu. He's one of the only hand puppets in our show, which is kind of incredible considering we're a puppet show. But he's very expressive. He has a slinky in his neck, allows him to do all that crazy movement. Of course, he can fly. He has to talk at the same time, blink his eyes.
It looks so real and lifelike.
Yeah. You want to try it?
Very cool. Yeah.
Let's try it. All right.
Okay, so what
Okay,
do
your
I do?
right hand, put your thumb in, your left hand. Put your thumb through that ring. Your right hand, you're going to grab that.
This?
That's your mouth. All right. Turn your hand over on this hand.
What's Zazu's voice like?
It's kind of English, kind of stuck
English?
up. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Perfect.
What are you all looking at? And then
So
the
neck
eyes? How do you
moves
blink
them-
the eyes?
Yeah, use the little ring for the eyes.
Oh, I'm so
So
tired.
tired.
Just kidding. Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah. he's
And not
incredible.
that heavy, the weight.
No, he weighs about 4 pounds. It's important. The weight's an important issue for us on the show.
Because you have to hold it for a long time.
Hold it for
How
the
did you make
whole
it
show.
fly?
So then you have to put your hand over top of this bar, and you have to pull down, and the wings will pull that whole bar down.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's hard to fly.
The first time's always the hardest. Gets easier.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Well, let's talk about these masks because, like I said, they look like heavy wooden sculptures, and yet, as you said, they have to be lightweight. I mean, I can just
Incredibly light,
pick this
yeah.
up with a finger, but the detail and everything, it looks like solid wood. How are you able to create that?
So Mufasa, like most of our masks, is carbon fiber. He's painted to be like wood, but of course he weighs less than a pound because they wear this on their head and it's high, and all that weight is tempered by that. So that's an important part. The little sticks are wood. Originally, they were all made of balsa wood, which is incredibly light, but also very, very breakable.
Oh, very fragile.
So every stick broke in those first few shows. Now it's made out of basswood, which is slightly stronger, but an important detail.
What does it take to maintain them? What are you doing here in the puppet shop?
Everything. So painting, sculpting, whittling these little pieces of wood for Mufasa's mask, tying the hair on. Same thing with Simba. It's just a horse tail that we get, and we have to make these beautiful strands out of that. So
Could this be happening
constant.
during the show, or is this like,
Absolutely.
after the show you look at it, you see this needs somebody's a little touching up, or
Yeah.
could it literally be during the show?
literally is during the show. Of course, we're always on call for anything that were to happen during the show, like an emergency, which happens. But during the show, we'll make these little things, and all kinds of things are happening back here.
Okay. What about, this is just something that's worn, I don't see anything mechanical, but you do have
Right.
mechanical masks too, right?
We do. So Scar is our mechanical mask.
Okay.
One of. And he's pretty incredible in that what he can do with his mask is take it from on top of his head. This is his helmet. And he can actually drop that right down in front of his face. And he can manipulate that however he likes.
And so this is the actor's head here.
Yep, this is the actor's face.
So there's a way that you're kind of blending the human actor with the mask.
Yeah, and that's so important that when Julie Taymor and Michael Curry designed all the puppets, they wanted this double event thing to take place. So you've got the animal mask but you also have that human, and he's an actor. Like, that's his stock and trade.
Right.
Don't take that away from him.
Wow.
So allow them to have that double event. So, when the mask is on his head, he can be kind of composed and Scar-like. But when he gets angry, he drops that thing down, and he becomes that lion. So a very important double event in our show.
I understand you've been working with the Lion King for over 20 years. So it must be awesome.
It is awesome, yeah.
So talk about your experiences over the years and why you've stayed.
The thing I love most about it is it's something different every day for me. Things still happen that I've never seen before, even after 20 years. So that's fantastic. And also just a love for this show. I think it's so unique on Broadway, and still to this day, after 25 years, I think it still astounds audiences.
Oh, it absolutely does. And a lot of it is what you just said. It's how the human and the animal are one. And it's just one of the most amazing things when you see it for the first time. So when you talk to students, I mean, there's going to be kids in the audience each and every night. How do you help them understand the profession and what you love about it?
I always say that there's a macro and there's a micro. So the macro is you just have to be curious. You have to be curious about how things work, ask questions. I always say Einstein wasn't the smartest mathematician because he knew all the equations. He was just curious, and he searched for those answers. Same thing with the puppets or whatever you're doing. I think you have to be curious about that. And then the micro is get your name out there, find out where the jobs are, talk to the people. Like, it's not always, in everyone's nature to do that, but that's kind of how the business works. You really have to get your name out there.
Yeah, I mean, getting into this business of theater is definitely, to be at this level, an incredible accomplishment.
Yeah.
Talk about your background, though. Like, was this a hobby for you, and then it became a career, or what did you study for it, learn it?
So I went to a technical school. I learned everything from auto mechanics to metal and woodworking, and I just had no idea what I was going to do as a teenager. No idea. I fell into theater backwards through wardrobe department. Just a friend knew they needed somebody, and I jumped in at that. And I just found out that I loved it, but it wasn't dovetailing into my skill set. But then as theater kind of developed through the 80s and 90s, it became more and more technical, but also in a way that kind of was puppet-oriented. So I did a show with roller skates. I was like, oh, I love this. And then Cats, is like very technical too. And I was like, oh, this is great. So finally, theater caught up to my skill set, and it just worked perfectly for me.
Incredible. I think that's it. I was just checking to see if I had any more questions. Awesome. This is so cool.